Welcome to Underrated Sound and City. Don't spill the tea, spill the truth. I am your host, Walt J, and co-host Melanie, and co-host Cara. And today's topic is a good one. Who's really in your corner? It's not who you think. So, ladies, what do y'all think about the topic?
I think it's a great topic. It's an interesting topic. Before we jump in there, we definitely got to do our social media
Oh,
intake for what's been
okay,
going on.
I'll let you start it off.
Well, word on the street in social media land. No, seriously. What I want to talk about is the redistricting of the votes. I feel like that's an important matter for everyone to be aware of. As I can put it, I feel like we're going backwards. We know the Republicans are the House, and now they're trying to minimize in Black majority cities as Memphis, Louisiana, even Mississippi. So if you never voted, make sure you go vote because I just feel like we are going backwards. But let me tell you what can really happen if we come together. We got to come together. If we stop paying rent, bills, stop shopping, stop thinking about swappies and AP collabs or everything hot on social media, we actually come together, we could shut this shit down and
I
actually
agree.
come together and change the system for our benefit on it. And it won't be none of this going backwards or you have this district or you have these numbers to minimize the black vote because that's what it is if you're thinking about it. What you think? Well,
I mean,
ma'am.
I agree. I feel like they only doing it the way how they doing it, just doing it because of the modern time. Back then they just went out just, hey, we're gonna do this. But now they're trying to be more in a modern age doing it, so to speak. But everybody see through it though. And some people is talking up about it. And you're right, we do need to step on midterm and say what we need to say and vote how we need to vote. I don't want to hear somebody say, well, my vote won't count. It will count, because I'm from the old school. How many people with that same mentality say my vote don't count? But if you get a lot of people with that same mentality, that's when it counts. So I'm with you on that. How about you, Miss Melanie?
I think now is the time for us to really show up and show out. If we can pack out a Chris Brown stadium, if we can pack out an NBA and the youth, if they can pack out NBA YoungBoy stadium, then we can come together. Another thing is there are so many things that we have to unify in supporting one another as well as unifying and coming together to vote. And as you said, Carl, if we hold our dollars, then it will send a large message. And not just us. I mean, because let's be real, the way things are going, the middle classers are the new overworked. And by them minimizing the class system, it puts the middle classers in almost a class of being is either poor or rich. And then right now most of the poor, they're not working. So then that means everyone will be leaning on your worker bees. And I call the middle class is your worker bees because they were holding the rich class together and also the poor class together because they're the ones that's showing up and they're putting the grit and the grind in. That would send a statement, but will we do it is the question. Will we do it? That is the question. I think with different generations, the younger generations, I think they would stand and not spin if the right influence was in front of them to empower that movement. Typically, ones who I feel like this a little bit more scarier is between the baby boomers. Some fight, and then some of them, they're just going to watch and see what everybody else does. And that's what we have seen over time. So with that being said, I think a lot of people not even paying attention to the redistricting because there are so many ploys that are out there that are there to be attention. They're distracting. I mean, every day is a new distraction. So while they're distracting, they're also, removing a lot of forces or powers that we currently have that we currently don't have. And they're changing laws daily. They have changed a lot of laws daily. Project 25 is really in full-fledged action. And it started the day after, Trump was in office. And he has pushed forward. So redistricting also to me, that was also a distraction for people to pay attention of Trump flying over to China with all the billionaires and millionaires on the plane. So there are a lot of plans that are in action, but to me is sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the things that are being done. And what I've learned from being in the military, the art of war is mass confusion. So mass confusion, you're able to divide and conquer, and that is currently what is going on.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that. That was an interesting social media topic. I really did enjoy that, Miss Carver. Yep.
Wow.
We only have a short amount of time. Voting will be here before you know it. We're already halfway in the year. June is almost here, so we literally have 3 months before, 4 months before the elections will be here. So time is not
Well,
really on anybody's side
well,
with making moves.
people might not understand how important the midterm is. The midterm is what will decide the House and the Senate. And at the same time, like you said, the Republicans got all three stages. So that's how the midterm needed. That's the importance of it. So some people don't realize that.
Midterms are very important. As we know, also, they are removing a lot of our Congress. They are attempting to move the Black congressmen and congresswomen out of their seats as well. So now we really have to, step forward and move and take charge.
Yeah. I don't think we need to just relax and let everything play out. We need to be in action. Get out
Absolutely.
there and vote. Make a change everywhere. Because you see what the gas is high. Everything that the person promised, whoever voted for that person, is not true. And the economy is much higher than what it was before. You can't keep blaming the past president. We're looking at what you've been here. You've been in office a year now, almost a year. So, no, actually a year. What's to say now? And then the final statement is: do you think America is great now? Because it's not. We're so divided. So we need to get it back together. Now, unfortunately, we're gonna have to be the change. We're gonna have to be the change that we want. So we're gonna have to stand up and fight.
I agree.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
What else going on in social media land? People tell me what else we got going on.
Well, from what I gathered, and Walt and I had the opportunity to meet this young lady when tonight's conversation came to Jackson. Oh, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, alleged Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. There is a big uproar about her proving her degree as a doctor. She has yet to provide that. And she gave a very I would say it's somewhat distasteful statement on a podcast when asked if she would provide and prove if she had the degree or where she went to school to show transcript or her thesis. And she dropped some F-bombs and she didn't give a F what other people think. I thought in that moment, I think she had got very defensive. Her response was very defensive to the question. And she said, basically saying that she don't have to prove because she did go to school and that's between her colleagues, professors, and the school. So it has been the topic of many podcasts, many social media influencers, and just looking at it, when you hold a doctorate degree is a high honor. So when you hold statuses of high honor, then with high honor comes integrity. You are held to a higher standard to have a moral compass and also remain in an integral position. So with that being said, most people are proud to show off that type of degree because that takes a lot of years of schooling to earn that degree. That is a badge of honor in all communities, but especially in the Black community. So I think when you have a platform as such as she has had, then integrity is required, especially when you are influenced and you have the position of affluence. Then integrity is first and honor is second. And then you're serving people. So you got to be servant to this service before self. in that manner. So I think her statement, one, it could have been a lot more tactful than what it was. And honestly, a lot of people are questioning her position as a relationship, coach and counselor. Some of the things that she has stated doesn't align with morality and fairness in relationships. So they feel like it's very biased to marry, because I think she's a marriage counselor. So a lot of statements that have been put out, especially by men, is stating that she has been given, false advice to, or bad advice. We'll say that, bad advice to people who are wanting healthy relationships. So,
Yeah.
did anybody else get to see?
No, I'm familiar with her, but what gets me is, so I have a guilty pleasure where I watch Basketball Wives. She was on the last season of Basketball Wives, but she didn't title herself as Dr. Bryant. She just went by her name. I mean, she spoke about, her life struggles with her mom. I know her mom had some addiction and stuff, but I never heard her get addressed as Dr. Bryant. So I'm just curious to know, when did you get that title? Then I also saw that she probably trademarked the name Dr. Bryant. So I can understand that, but just tell people the truth or show your dissertation that they give for you as a doctoral, degree, and show us. Like at this point now, you got to show us, or just call yourself a life coach. Because I accept that you being a life coach, then you saying you're a doctor and that marriage counseling. And then somebody said she was a minister. So we just get different stories. So to each his own. That she ain't counseling me. I just see her through the burst of social media. So whatever, I wish her well. But hey, we need to get it together, sister. Now I'm looking at you. We got to get it together. So
I think she's lost some, from what I read for her book. They pulled back until she's able to produce.
the credentials.
Yes. So
That's great.
lack of integrity will make you lose out, and really lose your
True.
platform.
They already look at us black women. We got to work 10 times
It's hard.
than the average person. And then you want to go do this? I need you to do better. I need you to do better.
I agree with that.
Anything else, Walt, on the social media verse
No, I
playing?
don't have anything else to say. We cover everything.
All right. Well, let's get to this
All right.
amazing topic.
All right. I guess I will start it off with a question. Good question. Can someone be in your life for years and still not be in your corner? What actually qualifies that person?
Well, corner, when you say corner, that to me, that's like support. So when you think of support, and I did some little homework background. So there are key factors. There are different types of support. So per Google, and this is from Mind Body Alignment Counseling, there are 8 types of support: emotional, instrument, informational, tangible, esteem, validating support, accountability, spiritual, recreational, which can be subdivided into peer support, professional support, advocacy, community, friends and family, and then mentorship. So depending on what area they are in, they could be there and not really be in your corner. And for instance, some family members, they are there, but not really in your corner because, again, we all have our own lives and we're all building, whatever it is that's in our lives. So some are there, some may be closer than others. So they can be present, but not really in your corner because of that title. Familiar is close, there's blood. As for friends, they're supposed to be in your corner, depending on the type of friend that they are to you. I mean, you have some friends that are just acquaintances. So support is, to me, when you say corner, that's support. And then some people, their support goes based on their value for you and their loyalty to you and their belief in what you're doing. So to answer your question, yes, some people can be there, but not really be in your corner.
I like the way you put that, because the 2 categories that you put, like family and friends, you can break that down to more so like time, trust, and action. So like your family be in your life the majority of the time, but then you said something pertaining to your friends, right? Friends can move into that category based on trust. They don't have the time, but they gain your trust. And also certain actions they have done for you can gain their trust. So I kind of split up to like time, action, and trust. So what you think, Carla?
You can put your family and friends in the same category for that time, trust, and action. Because think about this. We are born with our family
True.
for the most part, right? But we're gonna say immediate family for the support. Okay. And then the people that become our friends, we meet them throughout our life experiences and anything that aligns or we meet them, it could be from work, school, or just in the neighborhood. Okay. So when it comes to support, automatically you would think your family will support you, but not necessarily your family will support you because they don't align with the action. You see? Or your friends can also be the same way. So that's why I say I don't separate them two because all of it can work together. It just depends on where you are with those people.
That part. That part.
All right.
And what was the second question? Because I think was it like a second question or something?
What actually qualifies that person?
As
Well,
a
so like,
supporter?
well,
Or in
we
your
pretty
corner?
much answered that question. Say for instance, for
Yes.
example, like
Okay.
you have time, action. All that's debatable right there. And that's how you can prove to be in somebody's corner through your action, through trust, and also with time and stuff.
Okay,
But
so I'm
there,
gonna flip it back on y'all though. So if you turn it in that angle,
Mm-hmm.
so say we just met,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are you gonna support me, Walt? We just met.
We don't have
Are
the
you
we
gonna
don't have the
support me?
timing.
We just met. Just because we don't have the time, but I just
I
met
understand
you,
though,
right?
but it gotta be
And
like I
we
said, time. Just like it's just like when you go to work, right? And so when you talk, you have the people that you work with. Then you have people that you hang out with after work and stuff like this, right? That you choose to hang out with, right? So
Mhm.
that might be more so like that person probably did something for you to gain that trust. Like, let me give you an example. When I used to be a police officer and I had a partner, we only known each other for like 2 or 3 months, right? But for some strange reason, the supervisors, the higher up, didn't like him. And so they were trying everything to try to, do some stuff, try to get him out of there, right? Uh, They even called me in there and said, hey, they try to hint, hey, what you call to be doing at nighttime? I don't know. But at the same time, I know what they was trying to get at, but they couldn't just come out and say it, but they were just trying to beat around the bush, right? So after that whole conversation ended, I went back and told him and stuff like this, right? Even though we didn't have enough time in there for us knowing each other, but my action built trust right there because, I said, well, you don't do anything wrong. Why I'm gonna sit there and try to I can't say throw him on the bus because he wasn't doing anything. They just was trying to find something to capitalize on, right? But that little length of time that I know him, but my action, that's how we developed friends. And to this day, we've been friends for like 25 years.
good, but I
okay.
feel like
Mm-hmm.
me meeting you, right? And we have something similar that I can, let's say, align with. Okay. So let's just I'm gonna give an
Mm-hmm.
example. You're a photographer, okay? And I'm a makeup artist. And I see your work and I think it's amazing. Guess what? I don't know Tom. I'm just gonna automatically support you because you're doing something that I like. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So when you said qualification, I'm just like, what all do we need? Because I don't think because I could just automatically see something that you done and I approve while it aligns with me, I'm gonna go support. But that's just how I move. I can't say for everyone else,
Well,
but
I
that's what
guess
I
it
think. I
depends
know
on
you
the
want to say
situation
something.
then. I guess it depends on the situation.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we got a
I
different answer. Go ahead,
I don't
man.
think it depends on the situation. I think it depends on the type of support because you have different type of support systems. You may have informational support. I may be your plug to knowing there. I might be your resourceful person, meaning you call me and I know who I can plug in for their need. Or it could be emotional support. So emotional support is valuable just as well as the action of showing up. So your action is someone being present and you see them. And if you need something or if it's a last minute thing, they can fill in for you. So I think it is what you consider to be tangible. Like your key was he's a photographer
Mhm.
and you're a makeup artist. I'm a hairstylist. So all of those can be plugged in together, which could be useful to one another depending on what it is we're supporting. So
Right.
the other thing is your social network. Cara may be the networker. She may have traveled all over and know plenty of people. So that is highly resourceful for support, especially when you have a project and you want some movement or you need the key players or your major hitters to move that project. So I think is what is tangible to what is
Mm.
being supported in that moment. So that's what we have to look at. What are the
I agree.
tangibles to
Okay.
that person?
But be for real, y'all. Most person ain't thinking about the tangible part of it. They see what they like. See, we're visual people, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna be honest. I get more strangers to support me than family and
Mm.
friends. Not knocking family and friends, but we just hey, let's keep it honest in this podcast. But you will have a complete stranger will support you better than family and friends. Now
I
you
totally
have
agree.
your group of friends and family that
Mm.
will support you, but normally it's a stranger.
I agree with that. I mean, being in business for 17 years, I can say my largest supporters have been strangers versus like family as a collective. I may have a very small number of family members that support me, but the entire family, no. I mean, there are a small number that I've seen their face, at events or at speakings or hair shows. But the ones that really have shown up and shown out for me has been complete strangers who believe in what I'm doing. Or just to show up because when they first met me, I gave them a great first impression or I was very impressionable to them. And that's like, okay, well, I'll come out and
Mm.
support. So it happens. I had to learn it when I first started. When I first started my business, I was in my feelings a lot because I didn't see family in the crowd when I was doing hair shows or when I was, um, putting on different events. And then eventually I grieved the fact that, hey, they're just not going to be the ones to show up and support. And that support could be either in person. And let's say a business is you use social media as
Mm.
well for business. Strangers will share your posts, your marketing material before family actually shares the marketing material. And that is what I have noticed. So I had to grieve and be done with, the feeling of being disappointed and just say that, hey, these are my supporters. And then sometimes, family may not see your vision for what you're doing until you get further in or until you've made it to a higher, scale. And then like, so this is why she was doing all this different stuff. Now the big picture, the puzzle has come together. And sometimes the support is at the very end versus in the very beginning.
Yeah. I don't like that though. I'm gonna be honest because, like, what Drake's line? Don't be when I was shooting in the gym, you wasn't there. Like, start from the beginning. It doesn't take but a second to send a post or, "Hey, I'm proud of what you're doing." But I'm gonna be honest. I move in
Mm.
silence because I've learned from the past of the
Uh-huh.
meaning of support from family and friends that's not necessarily. So a lot of times you'll see me pop out and do something instead of saying, "Hey, I'm doing this," and you get that support. I got a select few of people that I will tell when I'm doing something new just to get feedback, you know,
Uh-huh.
and see which way I should go about it, or maybe they want to help
Mm.
me along, that journey. But for the most part, nah, I'm moving silent because I used to be like, I'm doing this, and then
I was
you
that
get
Mm.
way.
crickets and
Yeah, I was that
quiet,
way.
and it's
The critic
like,
is what bothers.
yeah, but I'm human, right? Because you think,
Yeah,
remember, I think that I'm telling these people they supporting me, but guess what? They not you, Karen. They not you, Walt. They not you, Mel.
that's
So
true.
everybody don't think the way we think or move the way. So we got to learn to what now that I can accept it. You know what I'm saying? Because people have their own stuff going on. So you can either, but me, I want to celebrate people. I want to support. If you tell me something, I'm like,
Eh,
yeah, let's do it. okay, what you need me to do? You know what I'm saying?
I'm the same way.
But a lot of time people don't do
I
that.
see exactly what you're saying. All right. Here's another good question. Are some people around us because they love us or because we make them feel comfortable? We breaking it down loyalty versus convenience. That's basically what it is.
That's your
Hey.
favorite, right? I'm gonna say it again. I think it's both. It just depends on who you dealing with. Like, I'm just gonna keep it honest. It depends on who you dealing with. And for the most part, we know who we dealing with.
Mhm.
It's true.
I
I
mean, you
think
gotta just meet people where they I would like for people to meet people where they at, but we not. But I think it's both. I'm just
I,
gonna
I
say the
had
short answer. What you think?
I had to learn to meet people where they are, but I also learned that sometimes the support may be to keep proximity to you because they do see where you're going and they aren't really as supportive. It's just to say I was there so that door can always be open. Well, you remember I showed up, but I don't, you don't see the support across the board. Like we said, social media, we don't see that person sharing or doing the referrals, say, hey, I referred this person to you, or they don't come in and actually support the business. They just show up to keep the proximity. They want the warmth to the light. So that way, as long as I still have the proximity, I still got a little key I can slide through the doorway once they make it big. So I think
Even with the love entailed with it?
I don't think all of it is love now. It's some of it is one-sided
Mm-mm.
commitment. And the intention is to keep the proximity so that you could be a resource to them and their needs. So I'm gonna give breadcrumbs, showing up and not just putting any actions, no emotional support, no tangibles. You just showing up. Because the showing up might not be on time. It might be late. It might be before the event ends.
What you think? What about you, Walt? Answering your own.
Well, I honestly think that, you know, when you start looking at towards like loyalty or convenience or because we make them feel comfortable, I think sometimes people keep people around because they do make them feel comfortable. They make them feel comfortable and to a certain extent, but at the same time, though, in the back of your mind, they make you feel comfortable, though, are they allowing you to grow at the same time, though? Or trying to get you to change. So that's how I kind of look at it right there. I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I keep people in my corner because they do make me feel comfortable. But then sometimes you need to feel uncomfortable to grow. Sometimes, you have to pay attention to your circle and stuff like that, right? So sometimes I do have to step out the comfort zone and okay, this person like take today, for instance, right? Well, somebody told me something like 2 or 3 days ago. Why don't you try this? But I was comfortable doing this. But at the same time, though, when he told me, I didn't want to do it because I was comfortable doing this way, right? But then I thought about it, then I just went ahead and changed it, right? But then that's why I started seeing things a whole different light because I did change it because I got out of my comfort zone. Because sometimes, like you said, sometimes a stranger will step out and help you better, right? Because they allow you to see something different. But then once you realize, hey, he's there to help me, but then, okay, I'm going to allow you to help me and say, oh, I'm glad I took your advice. Now I see the path now. So sometimes you got to step out their comfort and just allow something different. So that's how I look at it.
I will also say when you have a talent, a skill, a gift that gives you an audience or a platform, it depends on the influence too. If you're very influential, it's easy to attract supporters, and it may not be long-term supporters, it may be short-term supporters, and it could be the qualities or the charisma of the person that attracts them. So we have to really decide what type of support. It could be your influence that just keeps them showing up, but not giving more. So that's why I said earlier, when it comes to what they value that you have or that you're giving or that you're bringing to that table, then that determines the support. But then you also have to use discernment as well when it comes to to support. Because anytime you have a platform, I'll give an example. When we had the opportunity to meet Lance Gross, he has a large platform, but in that platform, we and others were supporters or fans who showed up to see him because of his skills and his talents, right? But that does not mean it's permanent support in that moment. It was because of proximity. He was close, he was within the city, but that does not mean that he'll see us again. And if he does, it won't be, soon. So you have to you have to weigh out all the different types of support that there are. And then I think categorize or classify the people that continue to show up, and that way you'll know what they're supporting. They may be just for information or they may be just for presence as well. So sometimes, when you're starting something new, you want everybody to jump on your bandwagon. But sometimes I'm a creator, and Carl can attest to this because we've been on each other for a while. Sometimes I may have an outlandish idea and she's like, that one might not work, but we'll see what it do. So if if you're a person like that imagination is wild and you're also creative, you're going to have a lot of ideas and you're going to try a lot of things until something hits or something works. So sometimes people may not jump to every idea that you have because they're waiting to see what is going to land and stick, and then they'll come out and support. So I think we sometimes we may be a little too sensitive to that because we want people to have the same eagerness and passion to what we're doing. Now, once you've been doing it for a while or a long time and then they still don't support, then you have to accept people for what they are. You have to accept them for their presence or their absence, and you write it as such.
Yeah, I do.
I agree.
If they're absent, if they absence, grieve the absence and keep it moving, because that doesn't stop the show. The show must go on. If that's your gift, if that's your purpose, if that's your calling, your job, the show must go on to continue to create and do what it is that you do that everybody else loves.
Agree there.
I agree. But then also remember, y'all, support is subject to me. Like, if we go in this world and don't nobody support us, that everybody have a right to do it, right? Will we like support?
That's
Absolutely. You know,
absolutely.
especially family and friends. So I just want us to remember that. You know what I'm saying? Because you might see somebody that's listening to this podcast that's an influencer or want to be an influencer. Still do whatever you need to do for you. And if you don't
Right.
get the support, that don't let it discourage you. You know what I'm saying? Because I guarantee you, you might touch somebody else's life. And guess what? That very person that looking at you is your support system. So
I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Again, y'all come up with some great answers.
I think it's
well,
based
you
on
got some
experience.
good questions, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
and it's based on experience. So
Yeah,
for
life is
me,
Yeah.
I've
life is
done
a
a lot of
teacher.
things
Situations,
that
like you say, experience situations. You
life is a
know,
teacher.
it can be somebody that, like you said, been in the military all their life, or somebody who just, just been sheltered at home the whole time, never went out and experienced anything. Because, they're going to look at things totally different. And then you might get somebody who used to being on their own, who really don't value nobody else's opinion. So, like you say, it depends on how you was grown and stuff.
That's true. You can just think about the kid who family didn't show up to his basketball games, but he is the star. So
That's a
that type of child or kid, once they become an adult, they have already gotten used to being supported by other people, and the fans are showing up because his talent and skills are great. But I guarantee you, he had to grieve when he looked in the stands, nobody was there. So something else was a driving factor or force for him to continue to show up and show up for himself. And then as he began to gain fans or supporters because his game was great, then it gives you even more passion to show up, because now you have other people that look up to you and say, hey, I don't have support either. I'm going to do it just like you did. So I think when you do certain things, I call the supporters that are not family and not close friends are like your destiny helpers. They're there to help propel you and push you through without those close supporters.
I like
Me too.
that.
I like that.
So we got some Destiny's helpers.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And like you said, who's really in your corner? I mean, that is a bold statement. Like, who really in your corner? You really don't know. It depends on where they are in their life. So, but I know for me, I definitely want to be people's
Yeah.
support. And
Absolutely.
even in the different levels that you say, emotional, it can be mentor, it can be just watching. If it takes like 2 seconds to watch whatever you're doing or to donate or to look over something, that's what I want to do. I don't know about nobody else.
Mm-hmm. It's just pouring positivity. You never know when someone needs that positive light. And
No,
that
I
one
agree.
positive thing can make their whole week, their whole month, their whole year. Or make them do a life-changing decision that propels them, forward. So
Yeah.
I believe
What I
that.
got out of that, what you just said, Melanie, is pretty much like a personal growth, a mindset angle. Like how you was explaining like the person that shows up like at games based on their talent and stuff. So that was to me that was more so like a personal growth because hey, my family's not here, but I got all these other people and it can be combined with mindset too. Okay, I got these mindset. My mindset is like, okay, these people they come to watch me play. So I'm allow myself to grow personally because I got to get used to my family's not here to support me, but I got all these other people here to support me based on my talent. But I'm gonna deal with it. Just my mindset. But yeah,
Absolutely.
It goes back to if y'all think about when people start to rap or play basketball or become a celebrity or actor or whatever. Same thing. They had to start somewhere and then they
Yes.
gained the support.
Mm-hmm.
You got another question for me,
hey,
Flo?
y'all pretty much y'all answer all my good questions right here.
Hey, it was a good topic though tonight. I really appreciate that.
It was.
For about support. I mean, people need to know, and definitely knowing the different type of support. Because I don't, but for the average person, they not thinking about that. But I'm glad you educated us on that.
Well, yeah, I just think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Melanie.
Support.
I just think that as time changes, and a lot of people it started to develop on depending on AI and stuff. These days, you you gotta find out what can you trust and what can't trust. Because like one of the issues they having now, especially like with AI, they using like you said, a celebrity is starting to fight back based on you can't use my voice like that. And so
Right.
like I said, who can you trust and all that stuff like that? Who's in your corner? So
Who's in your corner is based on you building community to me. When
I agree.
you get out there and you put the work in and you make it personal and you let people know that you're committed to what it is you're doing, and then people will sign up to be your supporters because they see that you have a tenacity, you have drive, you have passion, you are persevering, you have persistence in what it is that you're doing. And I can say that speaking from experience because starting my business, nobody was doing natural hair. And I got laughed at when I told people the idea like, hey, I'm gonna start a natural hair salon. And even my dad said it, my close friends at that time, ain't nobody going back napping. Who finna rock a afro? And at that time, relaxers was the thing. Nia Long and Holly Berry pixie cuts were in. Natural was not a thing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this happen because it's a need. Because anything can happen. And sure enough, down the line, we find out that the relaxers was not good for us. So I worked my dream and I worked my dream. I remember my first year in, I worked every Jackson State home game and I ordered like 10,000 flyers. And my children and I worked the parking lots and put flyers on every car in the stadium's parking lot to help get the word out. Cause at the time I didn't have the money to like really market like radio and stuff. So I put a lot of footwork in. So it's about what you believe. If you believe in yourself, you can build a support system over time. And whoever doesn't support, you keep it moving. Eventually they will come.
Do y'all feel like that might be the last question? Yeah, I feel like some support have alternative motives where they
Most
can
definitely.
gain from it.
Most definitely.
Yes,
Let's talk about it.
absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
Because
Yes,
not all
absolutely.
supporters are organic. So they might just be there just to watch, just see how you move, just see how you do this, and just sit back long enough. Okay, then I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna come out there. Sometimes you can't, like you said, sometimes you can't broadcast everything. You do have to move in silence sometimes.
Absolutely. Or you got them finesses that come out there and want them free services now. They gonna woo you, whatever they can do to get on your good side so they can get what they get in exchange. You got some finesses out there. So
You-
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember being in the corporate. I always get that phone call. Hey, can you hook me up?
Right.
Or when I switch over to the makeup service, can you give me a discount? Can you do this? Can you do that? But they still supporting you, right? For their personal
No,
gain.
that's not support asking for a discount. Support is paying the
Exactly.
price and
But
tipping.
it's
That is
ulterior
supporting.
motive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For
Support.
their own personal gain. So
Yeah.
definitely gotta
Yeah.
watch out for that.
You hit a nerve when you ask that question.
Okay,
No,
what
I'm
kind
just
of nerve you
saying.
hit?
I mean, just hit a nerve in general because everybody's not there to follow you, just to follow you because they like what you're doing. They following you because they just pretty much just they surveying you to level up on their end. Okay, I want to see how you doing this. So they following you because of that. So they're not a true follower. They're not a true supporter. They following you, but they're not a true supporter.
That comes with the territory. That's anyone that's in any type of business, anything that another person deems as lucrative, because they're watching you work your gift, your talent. And in some cases, some people think that they can repeat what you're doing, and they're not able to, not realizing that that comes with your light, your charisma, your personality, all of that. So that draws in the success as well. It adds to the success. So a lot of people look at things and think it's easy. And I've had a lot of people think that, styling natural hair was easy until they got in and saw me like, oh, I couldn't do this. I remember when Carl came and she's like, oh no, I couldn't be a hairstylist. Cause my patience is thin. So that's another thing too. Is you may have some gifts as patience to deal with some things that other people will totally walk out the room on. It's like, forget
Mm.
this. I'm not doing this.
I
This
agree.
this is not for me. So as a photographer, I mean, standing out in the heat taking pictures of people, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It takes skills. And some people got the sauce to do what they're doing, and some people don't.
True, true.
Right.
Well, again, Carl, you always ask the great question at the end. To stir up,
Hey,
stir up some more
gotta put
stuff.
it in
Seems like we get ready to have another podcast, another hour based on that question.
Hey, let's do it.
But I don't have anything else to add to that because I mean that was a great topic. I enjoyed it. Do either one of y'all have anything to add?
Determine who your supporters are. Hopefully, we define what real support is, and then you place those people in those categories. So
And don't I say don't let if you don't have supporters, just keep going.
Just keep
Do
moving.
you? What's,
Uh,
there you go. You said the final word. So,
all right, people. This is underrated. Don't spill the tea, spill the truth. Because real loyalty isn't loud. Who's really in your corner? Again, this is Walt J with Melody and Carver. Y'all have a good one. Right. That was